a theme, touchstone to recognize a standard by which we're recognized. Okay, we know who we are. There's a standard. We talk about the standard all the time. It's not just the way we perform on Sunday, it's how we go about our life on and off the field. We got to take advantage of every opportunity. Seize everything, man. Carpe Omnia.
It's week number 8 of this National Football League season and time for another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. It's the Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams, a rare noon kickoff on Sunday at AT&T Stadium. And coach, coming off the bye week last week, the players were able to get out of the building. Maybe you got refreshed a little bit yourself, but I know there's a lot of work that went into your preparation and then getting them back in here this week. What's it been like?
I mean, the bye week's always a good time for. It doesn't matter what week it comes. It's been my experience, and it was great for the players to step away, obviously coming off a Monday night game. It was good for the coaches too. But I mean, the coaches did a lot of extra work to give us the opportunity to have a heavy self-scout day on the Monday that we return, but to do the across the hall preparation, which is really one of my favorite events of the year. We do it, 2 to 3 times a year with a offensive coaches coach the defensive players, vice versa, give them insight on how they would attack them, and based off of what each player's put on film in the first 6 weeks of the season. So it was, I felt the bye week was very productive all the way around.
Now, before we dive into the Rams, one of the things I found interesting you were talking about in one of your press conferences this week was the difference in September football, and then you get into this part of the season, late October, November football, where you feel like more games might be lost in September than won, and now you get into a sync and start crystallizing things as far as your offense and defense go.
Definitely. I mean, when you look at the training regiment of training camp today as opposed to 10 years ago, I think it's only obvious, time on task on what you spend your time on. So, every NFL team has, their schematic challenges or, their menus they want to get into. But, how do you balance that with the technique and fundamentals that, which is really what training camp's for, because you have no padded work in the off season. So, so this has really been going on since 2011. And I think you got to adhere to that too. And I think it's, it makes you focus on your team and what your strengths and weaknesses are in reality of it. I mean, we're always trying to eliminate the self-inflicted wounds, but it definitely, taking care of the football and taking away is always a big, characteristic of winning football, but I think it's even exemplified in September.
And both these teams do a good job in that category. Sean McVay's team, they're off to a 3-4 start. Every game has been very competitive. When you look at their defense, there's one guy that really jumps off the screen at you, and that, of course, is the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald's obviously a premier player, and he gets attention every week, and it'll be no different this week when we line up on Sunday. So, yes, his ability to make plays, both in the run and in the pass rush is, he's top notch. He's the standard. He's the standard in the league right now, for inside players. And they're doing a really good job of moving them more around this year than they did last year. They're doing more schematically away from them this year than they did last year. So they definitely, give us a lot of scheme challenges along with, where Aaron lines up.
One guy on your offense I want to ask you about is CeeDee Lamb, and Dan Quinn was talking about how in practice leading up to the Chargers game, he could see in his eyes this guy was a man on a mission, has such passion, plays with such a hair on fire style. How important it is to have guys like that coming off a bye week like this, where you're getting back into it and, okay, it's down to business again?
I mean, when you look at CeeDee, obviously coming out of college and, where he was drafted and everything, you look at the gifts he has, but he's pure football. I mean, he's all about football, and I just love the way he attacks the game. Super aggressive, has a great passion for winning. And I think not only when you see a receiver that can do it, obviously in the second and third level of the defense, but also just give him the ball. You got to remember CeeDee's first year, and then going back to college too. I mean, an excellent punt returner too. So he is a complete pure football player.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
It helps me self-reflect, just seeing from a defensive back's point of view, and seeing how, different ways to attack them or different ways that they would guard me. And if you tell me how you're going to guard me, then I have to work on the way to avoid that, you know. So it's very beneficial for me and my receiver guys. So learned a lot from him.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy here inside the Globe Life studio. Bill Jones now joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, SportsDayDFW.com. The trade deadline is approaching on Tuesday. You know, I find it interesting this week, David. All 32 teams are playing this week. I wonder if it has anything to do with the trade deadline. Do you think, in talking with Jerry Jones earlier this week, that something could be on the front burner for the Cowboys?
Well, you bring up a good point. I don't think that's happenstance, that you just take a break in the buys in the weekend leading up to the trade deadline. Spoke to Jerry Jones, several of us did, during the week, and it was interesting. The question was, do you find that there are more teams willing to make a deal leading up to the trade deadline than there have been for long periods? And he did agree with that. And you have seen more activity here. You saw the Cowboys get involved last year ahead of the trade deadline. One deal was made, one was not. But that trade resulted later after the season, and Brandon Cooks winding up here. So his stance was he likes this team where it is now, but he's aggressive by nature. He's a risk taker by nature. And so he's always ready to make a deal. But if one doesn't occur, he believes this team is currently constructed can get them to where they want to go.
Okay, and along those lines, what does David Moore think the Cowboys could use some help at? What position group?
Well, you can always upgrade some spots, right? I mean, it's natural to look on the offensive side of the ball, I think, based on where this team is at the moment. If you had more of a power back, you could work into the rotation. I think that would help. You could make an argument for a veteran tight end to kind of go in the mix, and that would help you with some of your personnel groupings and schematically what you're doing out of different sets. Look, I think every team in the league could use another corner. I think every team is like one injury away from being in desperate position at corner. And you did have, Leighton Vander Esch at linebacker there. So, I mean, I think to me those are the spots that would make the most sense. But again, it's not going to be a big trade in the nature of, I think it'll be more along the lines of a Jonathan Hankins, who was acquired last year before the deadline. Makes a lot of sense for where you are.
In our final minute here, you talked about the running back position. How much do you think it would help the run game if Tony Pollard were used more like he has been used the first 4 years of his career?
Well, his obligations and responsibilities are different now. The load sharing is different. When I look early in the season, though, I see more offensive line issues to clean up because of them not working together as a group, because of how the injuries were staggered. I don't know that some of those guys are playing at the level we have come to expect them and seen them play in past years. So that's something they'll continue to work on, something they have to get better, because in my mind, and I think in theirs, if the running game is established better, then the passing game is going to follow.
All right, it's going to be a big day on Sunday. D-Ware going into the Ring of Honor at Sunday's game. And up next here, after talking with D. Moore here, we've got D-Law. Yes, Demarcus Lawrence, when the Mike McCarthy Show continues in a moment.
This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, feel like they're a well-balanced team. They do a great job of disguising their run-pass options. And, it's a home game, man, so we just super excited to be back home. Have our home fans, they're cheering for us, and to go out and put on the show. Oh yeah, definitely seen it evolve. Throughout Q's last 3 years, man. We just been taking a step each and every year, and I feel like, we still have a lot to prove, a lot to gain this year, and we're going to continue to chase it. When I came in, it was just starting to soften up the game. But now I definitely think it's a little softer. But also, like, it's more technical. So, bringing the young guys in now, it's all about, making sure you're teaching the right, proper technique, making sure their alignments and assignments are right, and then, go out there and let them have fun. I feel like, over the years, that's when you start acquiring new skills, So, it's still early, but one day they'll get there.
Demarcus Lawrence and the rest of the Cowboys defense will be facing what on Sunday? Will McClay is here to break it down. Let's take a look at some of those primary guys for the Rams. Of course, Matthew Stafford at quarterback. And how about this rookie fifth-round draft pick, Puka Nacua?
Yeah, we'll just take a look at Puka here. And not only Puka, but the quarterback. So they've got a reduced formation. They got you inside. So what he's going to do, he's a very deliberate route runner. He's very smart, instinctive, and tough. He goes over the middle. So we look at it here. Quarterback, trust the receiver. He's throwing to a spot, and then the touch of Stafford to throw it over the linebacker, and Puka getting hit and maintaining the catch.
One of his 58 catches on the season.
And 17 explosives. All right, so we'll take a look at him here. They use motion, determine what the defense is doing, seeing him communicate. All right, but there's Puka right there, and the trust of the quarterback to the receiver to throw that ball there with the DB's back turned. It's just an incredible connection that they have.
Wow. So now they've got Nacua paired with the guy they already had, Cooper Kupp, who was out to start the season, but he's back now. Let's see some of what Cooper Kupp does here.
All right, here they are. They're 3-by-1. Stafford's moving the safety over. He trusts the receiver. You look at the receiver. The DB had outside leverage. He set him up and still won on the outside with a great throw from the quarterback.
And you saw that the ball was out before he even made his cut there.
Here you go. Take a look at it here. They're going to have split safety, cover two. And that tight window throw, trusting the receiver in that space there, just a great throw and concentration on the sideline. That's what we've got to contend with is those two receivers in Stafford.
All right, on the defensive side, there's number 99, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, it's like the old bands, like Gladys Knight and the Pip. It's Aaron Donald and the rest of them. Here, they're going to try and run the football. They've got it blocked perfectly, but what he does is from the backside, he makes a play with his quickness, an explosion. All right.
That's made it look so easy there.
Makes it look easy.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is what he really does is getting after the quarterback. Mike talks about the 2.1. They've got 6 protectors. They got 6 guys protecting the rush. They only rush 5. Aaron splits 2 and gets there in under 2.4.
Wow. There you go. Aaron Donald on defense, some of the guys on offense. Will McClay here every week. And the coach rejoins us in just a moment here on the Mike McCarthy Show.
So you've got to give him focus. You've got to give him focus and give him credit because he deserves that. He's a hell of a player. And yeah, he hadn't lost a step. And yeah, I mean, he's still Aaron Donald.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Well, it's always a great challenge. Obviously, he's a Super Bowl champion. He knows how to make all the passes, all the reads, look you off, things like that. Super dynamic. The record don't show how really good they are. So we definitely got our hands full going into this Sunday.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, as the coach rejoins us here in the Globe Live studio. Cowboys and Rams, AT&T Stadium, noon kickoff this week. And it's another homecoming game for Matthew Stafford, the quarterback out of Highland Park. My first memory of Matthew Stafford, the Rams quarterback, was when he played in a state championship game and won it 59-0, and that was now 18 years ago in 2005. You've seen a lot of him, obviously, in his career, and pretty amazing the career that he's put together, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Got to see him as a young player, obviously with the Lions twice a year. Was super impressed with him, right from the start. Battled through some hard injuries, some tough moments up there. But just, not only the ability, that he has, particularly in his arm talent, but, just the way he plays the game. So, obviously happy for him going out to LA, winning a championship. But, yeah, I always enjoyed competing against Matthew.
And when you look at the weapons that he has now, of course, he's had Cooper Kupp, who 2 years ago had 145 receptions, and now you pair him with a guy named Puka Nacua, 5th-round draft pick out of BYU, who already has 58 catches this season.
A lot of similarities. You definitely can see Cooper's influence and just the way he plays the game. Both very physical football players, particularly in the route running and at the breaking points. So yeah, definitely that is two, Matthew and those two guys will be a focal point for us.
Earlier in the show we talked about Aaron Donald, who's now in his 10th year in the league. Demarcus Lawrence in his 10th year in the league in that same draft back in 2014. When you look at Demarcus and where he is in his career and his development through the years, and he's been such a complete player, not only rushing the passer but defending the run, how special has he been?
I mean, he's definitely special. I know, knowing Demarcus from far, you always appreciated, because everybody's known for the pass rush, but how he played, his run defense. And now working with him here now, year 4, I think clearly in my time here in Dallas, this is his best year. I just think he's on it, has command, not only everything we're doing defensively, but I think his leadership has gone up a couple notches. So.
And D-Law came here. He's drafted in 2014, guy that's going to be honored at halftime of the game on Sunday, went into the Hall of Fame this summer. Demarcus Ware, that was his first year away from the Cowboys after 9 years here. What are your memories of facing D-Ware when you were coaching the Packers?
Get the ball out quick. No, definitely. You always had to be aware of him, particularly, in your help protections. But yeah, just a great player, but a phenomenal motor. I mean, he would bring it every play.
Osa Odigizua brings it every play, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, no, he's had some big time games. I mean, just look at his production inside. It's been nice to watch him grow each year. And Osa, and really the culture in the locker room has really grown in our time here. But there's not too many Saturdays and Sundays in March, April, May where you're not in the building that he's not here. So it puts in a tremendous amount of time away from the facility, and just a super committed football player.
And you can see it pays off on Sundays. All right, we continue with more of the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
I'm more mature, knew what to expect, ready for what it meant to be a professional athlete, which I can't say was true of my MLS rookie year.
Final couple minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. In time for my Unsung Star of the Week. These guys are never unsung in the building here. Everyone appreciates what they do. I'm going with your place kicker, Brandon Aubrey, a guy that has the nickname of Butter, according to the quarterback, Dak Prescott. He's pretty smooth there. 16 for 16. His first 16 field goal attempts in the NFL.
That's a pretty good start, huh?
No,
he's been awesome. And obviously the talent. I feel like I say the same thing every time someone asks me about Brandon, but you see the talent right away. But it's just like anything in this game. The consistency, and the success, and breeds the confidence. And he's just kicking with a tremendous amount of confidence right now. It's great to see. And
his story too, of course. The first time that he played in a football game since middle school in Plano was in the USFL just a couple of years ago. First-round draft pick, Major League Soccer Toronto team. They come from all places, don't they?
Oh, no doubt. But he's super talented, and obviously, the 2 years in the USFL served him very well, and highly recommended, and he's been everything we thought he would be.
You realize that 8 of your last 10 games have been played on the road, last 4 games, including playoffs last year and then this year. It's nice to be back home where you have a 10-game win streak, right?
Definitely. It's always good to be home. You know that, and I just like the whole routine of it, and I think it serves our players well.
All right. Good luck on Sunday against those Rams. We appreciate all of you joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show, and we will see you again next week when the Cowboys head to Philadelphia.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by blockchain.com. Trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.